Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and welcome to Overwatch Central. So with the Sombra changes that kind of went onto the live service and then were taken off of it, I wanted to get some opinions of people that predominantly play Sombra to understand whether these changes are actually going to be huge for this hero or even huge for the game. So I sat down with a Sombra main player, Fitzy here, to talk about these changes, Sombra's life before them, and how much it's going to impact the hero. Usually we do introductions, but because we've never had you on the channel before, Fitzy, just give us a brief thing. People may not know who you are, so like, who are you, sort of how you've done with Sombra in the past, and why should people listen to you when it comes to this hero?
Fitzy here. I've been playing Sombra since release. I come from a strategy background with both StarCraft and Dota 2, and this is my first FPS. But when it comes to Sombra, she's more of a strategist as opposed to just a strict DPS in that regard. I've hit rank 12 so far in the ladder. Haven't hit top 10 yet, but we're closing in. Consistently in top 500. Have about 700 hours on Sombra, if not 800. And yeah, she's a fun hero to play. A lot of things to do, not just shooting, not just healing, kind of a mix of everything, and keeping track of everyone's ultimates, what abilities they're going to want to use before they even know that they're going to want to use them.
With these changes, you had a good amount of time to play. We'll get into specifics a little bit later on in this video, but more just off the bat, what do you think of these changes? Are you pro? Are you against? Like, what does this change do to Sombra? What does it do to the rest of the game?
I think it's a good change of pace. Currently, she's in an awkward state of, is she a support? Is she a DPS? Since in pro play, they're mainly using her as an EMP bot, I'm glad they're getting away from that. I'm glad Blizzard is looking at it as moving her more towards a DPS instead of this hybrid farmer EMP and go in with and win the fight with EMP. It makes her a lot less map dependent because she's less reliant on health packs with this change. And she's more useful in the middle of the fights without her EMP instead of just needing the EMP to win the fight.
If that's the aspect of the game that made her viable, what about her in other situations, regardless of, say, EMP wasn't a thing? Where was she underpowered? Was it the damage because the spread has been reduced? Will that help? Was it the ability to actually hack opponents not being really that useful a lot of the time? Where was your biggest gripe with Sombra being used as a DPS assassin almost?
So it depends on if you want to use her really as an assassin or a stick with your team and help shut down people that dive you. Right now, the main issue is you have to kind of play away from your team in order to get the hacks off because you can't take any damage or it cancels the hack. I think something that potentially could help is if there was like a 10 to 15 damage threshold before it was canceled.
Yeah.
A lot of times
because it could be interrupted, like D.Va shooting you from about 20 meters.
Right,
and like a percentage of, not even like a full unit of damage, just more.
Right, and it happens a lot more than you think, where you're just, okay, what just canceled? I took 0 damage, and it's because it rounded down because it was so low. And it's like, that being said, decreasing the hack time from 0.8 seconds to 0.65 definitely helps get those hacks off. And that's one of her struggles, is getting the hacks off reliably.
So Sombra at the moment has been played as this EMP bot, as we've described. With these changes and when they go through, you mentioned kind of Sombra being able to sit with a team and counter people diving in on her. What role would she have on a team if these changes went through? Would she be played like a Tracer or a Genji, trying to dive the enemy's backline, hacking key targets and taking them down? Or would she be kind of anti-dive almost? Would she be used to sort of be a bit more surrounding your team, waiting for the Winston, or D.Va especially? D.Va, if you can hack her and she can't defense matrix, you can bend her down fairly quickly. How should you be playing Sombra when these changes go through? Is she dive or anti-dive?
I think she can be the stealthy assassin, but I think she can also be the anti-dive. Again, it depends on what the opposing team comp is. And she can't really necessarily be anti-dive because if you're playing with your team and they dive on you, you have to be far enough away to get the hacks off. Now, I think that on 2 CP maps, she definitely gets a nerf in terms of she's not going to have her ult for every defensive fight. Aggressive as well. You're not going to be able to do as much damage because a lot of her ult charge does come from the health packs. So it's still going to be played the same way, where you're trying to pair it with, that EMP blade or EMP visor. We're able to deny the supports from helping their team while your other DPS kills everybody. Your assist, it's almost like Nano, how you can't really use it by itself. You have to have something to pair it with in order to get the full effect or be able to capitalize on it efficiently. Hybrid maps and payload maps and control point maps with these changes shall naturally be better, because you're able. Those fights are a lot more scrappy. They're not a we do one push, the fight happens, it's over. There's more constant fighting happening.
You say that like viability will go up in more game modes that aren't 2CP, basically. My question is, by how much? Like, how viable and how much of an impact are these changes alone going to have on not only Sombra's pick rate, but the game as a whole? Because she certainly feels like a hero that can, like, as the emote with Reaper, really control and puppet the game as it's happening. Are we going to see Sombra being a really, really viable pick with these changes? Or is it just more of a bump up that may help overall?
I think overall it's kind of more of a shift of gameplay, not necessarily a buff or nerf, because getting EMP every fight is a huge part of her current kit, and it's really hard to tell, okay, how much is 10% and 0.15 seconds and hacking the passive's going to help. Playing against Fair Mercy, they're going to struggle. I think Sombra's going to be something that can really help contest Fair Mercy. If they're out on the side of Ilios, I know the first thing that I'm going to try to do when the patch drop is, if there's Fair Mercy flying over a pit, I will EMP them, and they're going to die, and it's going to be great. But in terms of Hero's viability, I don't think that this is necessarily going to push her into a Tracer level of, wow, she can be used all the time. Not that I won't use her all the time, but I think it won't be a hero that you can go, oh, they got a buff, I'm going to try them and do well at them. You're still going to have to know how to play Sombra. There's, like, you need to know what abilities people are going to use before they use them.
Now, a key thing, if people are looking at these Sombra changes and go, oh, I want to play more Sombra, I want to try this out, what key things do you really want to mention to people about knowing your role, how to play this hero, even if they have sort of a decent understanding of how to play Sombra, but really want to invest more time in this new iteration of her? What would you recommend, and what do you feel people really need to know about her?
I think with this new iteration, there's going to be a lot less playing around the health packs, naturally. One thing that I think they could change or potentially bring back, if they go through with these changes, is to have Sombra have self-healing, or rather gain ult charge through the health packs for her self-healing. This way it'll still keep it away from farming EMP via your teammates, but every other hero, any self-healing they do, they gain ult charge from that. But it'll depend on how quickly you're able to get your EMP up. But I think that you'll play away from your health pack more. Throw your translocator on high grounds. Try to stay. Put yourself to where if you go back, you have options. You don't have to go to your health pack. You can stay on the high ground and provide a hack to help your team. If you don't have EMP, stay with your team, not necessarily on top of them so you can still get the hacks off, but more often than not, try to use the hack as much as possible. 0.65 is not that long, and you can hack someone real quick and go right back to shooting.
What kind of big mistakes do you see actually coming out of Sombra players?
With the current state, and I don't know if this will change with how the health pack ult charge again, is a lot of Sombras put their translocator right on a health pack, and at times that can work, but at other times, like I mentioned, throwing your translocator on the high ground leaves you with options. As long as you can grab that health pack before the next fight or get healed before the next fight, you don't need to have your translocator run on the health pack. With the changes to Mercy, the most recent changes to Mercy, naturally Zenyatta Mercy combo is starting to die down, and we're seeing a lot more Lucio and Moira. And Sombra does amazing versus every support in the game. Less Ana to an extent, and maybe not so much Moira in terms of fighting her. But for the big team fights that happen, you can kill Zenyatta very easily. EMP again reduces him down to 50 health. You finish him off, he's gone. You can also just kill him very easily when he's walking back from spawn. His hitbox is very circular, and Sombra spread kind of doesn't really care about that because your spread's circular. Lucio, he's got his crossfade healing and his crossfade speed. With these new changes, you essentially be able to render him useless because hack is supposedly going to disable that. Also, when he uses beat drop, EMP completely removes all the shields from the people that receive it. Also, you can cancel beat drop in the middle of it while he's casting it by hacking him.
I guess I'm seeing this like theme develop, I suppose. That Sombra seems to be a hero that is almost like a sort of counter mechanic. I can imagine that if there's a particular player on the enemy team that's doing really well, a DPS might bring out Sombra and just pretty much focus this player down, either being a DPS, a diva, the supports. Is it now most likely that it's like, they have a really good Pharah, bring out Sombra. They have a really good Tracer, bring out Sombra. We need to shut down this and bring out Sombra. Do you see that happening quite a lot?
Everyone is good at their hero, and they know how to push based on whatever level that you're at. Everyone knows how to push their limits and what they can get away with. One thing that they're not counting on is not being able to use their abilities to get back to safety. So we'll take a Tracer, for example. She blinks in, she uses one blink. She knows she has 3 to 4 more blinks by the time they regenerate, as well as a recall. And if you hack her and she's stuck in the middle of your team, she's pretty much dead. With hack, it either goes off or you still have it. There's no, you used it, it's gone. So you can keep that pressure even if you don't finish the hack on her. She's still worried about it because at any time that you get that hack off, she's dead. There's no way to get out if she's in the middle of your team. But Genji not being able to double jump, wall climb, dash away, he's also kind of stuck in the middle of your team. Winston not being able to deploy a shield, being able to jump away, Diva not being able to jump away. She could counter a lot of people that not necessarily overextend, but they're playing to their limits. And anybody who plays this game will know how to play to their limits and what they can get away with. So being able to shut that down more reliably will potentially bring Sombra into being we don't need a McCree, we need a Sombra.
Penultimately, I suppose, you're Jeff Kaplan. Now you get to decide sort of where Sombra is going to be at this sort of point. Do you stick with the changes that are going to go through, or would you iterate and change them, maybe add some other ideas or take some of the ideas out of there? What would you do to Sombra if you had the opportunity to balance her?
So, like I mentioned before, I think that being able to get ult charge for self-healing, if she uses her own health pack, I think that's something that wouldn't necessarily break her. I think Sombra might struggle with building her ultimate just because of removing such a large amount of her source of her source of ult charge. So I think that if she's able to get self heal, or rather self ult charge from self healing, I think that's something that I'd be looking into, because right now it feels really awkward, and it may just be because we've been ingrained into you throw your translocator down, you get your health back, you get your health back, you go in, take damage, you get health back. In terms of balance, I think that she has a lot of issues with reloading. There's a lot of her abilities cancel reload. And you could say that for any hero, but I think because going into stealth, to coming out of stealth, throwing your translocator, translocating, using EMP, there's so many things that cancel it that there's a lot of awkwardness in the reload time.
Like the Wraith thing for Reaper, that instantly reloads him and stuff.
Right, and I don't necessarily think that translocating should instantly reload Sombra's gun, but just being able to reload and then as you're translocating, continue the reload instead of completely stopping it. Because otherwise you would be in the middle of a fight. Oh, I have to reload, translocate. I'm good. I've got my full ammo now. And I don't know necessarily that would be broken to do that, but I don't think that is the route that you want to go.
And lastly, where can people sort of find more from you, learning about this new version of Sombra that we're going to see? But just any closing thoughts, anything that you really want to highlight at the end of this video?
Sure. So I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fitzyhere, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard most days. I also have got a YouTube channel that has various guides, map guides, and just gameplay, some of which will have to be a little bit reworked or redone because of these changes. But I eagerly look forward to these changes. I like that they're moving her more towards a DPS instead of a support role. I hope that the community as a whole is finally able to get past, oh, we can run a solo healer with a Sombra, because it's not going to work, because your ult economy is not going to be that great, especially if everyone's just trying to grab the health packs. Your ult economy is going to struggle. So I look forward to being able to have two supports consistently as playing Sombra and not seen as a, what does this hero do? What's their role? What's their purpose?
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know what you think of the Sombra changes below. And of course, we have so many heroes that may potentially get buffed down the line. Torbjorn, Hanzo, Mei, all those jazz. Let me know if there's anybody you would like me to specifically talk to in the scene, streamers, pros, that kind of stuff on these heroes. And I will do my very best to make that happen. But thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you then.